Imagine, you are only 23 years old. You are discovering a way to treat one of the most terrifying diseases in human history. A disease that forced people to leave everything behind and live completely cut off from the world for the rest of their lives. People no one wanted to touch. People everyone was scared of. Your work actually starts helping them get better. And then, just like that, your name disappears from the story. Completely erased. How does that even happen? Let's go back to the very beginning. Seattle, late 18th. A gray, rainy city on the edge of America. She was born into a family that saw the world through a camera lens. Her grandfather was one of the very first black photographers in the United States. Her mother and father were photographers too. From the time she was a little girl, she spent hours in the darkroom with them. The sharp smell of chemicals, the red safe light glowing, watching blank paper slowly turn into a real photograph right in front of her eyes. That darkroom was her first laboratory. That's where she fell in love with chemistry, with how tiny invisible things can completely change what we see. She grew up smart, curious, and very determined. One of the only black girls in her classes who wasn't just good at science. She was the best. By the time she was in college, she was unstoppable. She earned 2 bachelor's degrees in just 4 years, pharmaceutical chemistry and pharmacy. Then, she did something even bolder. In 1815, she moved to Hawaii and became the very first black woman to earn a master's degree in chemistry at College of Hawaii. They liked her so much, they asked her to stay on as a teacher. She was still in her early 20s, quiet on the outside. But inside, there was this quiet fire, the kind that doesn't make noise but never goes out. Hawaii. Early 90s. Warm tropical breeze, salt on your skin. The ocean waves that never stop talking to the shore. But not far from the beautiful beaches, there was another Hawaii most tourists never saw. A small, isolated island. A place where the government sent people not as punishment for a crime, but because they had leprosy, also called Hansen's disease. Back then, people were absolutely terrified of it. They thought it was highly contagious. They thought it was a curse. There was almost no effective treatment. So, when someone got diagnosed, their family had to say goodbye forever. They were put on a boat and sent to this island to live out their days in isolation. Try to really feel that for a second. You wake up one day and you are told you have to leave your home, your family, your children. No hugs anymore. No more sitting at the dinner table. No more walking through town. You live behind fences. People bring you food, but they drop it from a distance. You are alive, but you're already gone from the world. That was the reality for thousands of people. And into this heavy world steps a young woman in her early 20s. She's assigned to work on a project that everyone else had basically given up on. her world becomes a small laboratory. Glass beakers and test tubes, rows of chemicals on the shelves, the smell that stays on your clothes and in your hair long after you go home. She works there for hours every day, often deep into the night. They give her chow mugro oil, something doctors had tried for centuries in Asia, but never with real success. The oil came from the seeds of a rare tree. It had been used for a long time, but it had serious problems. It was incredibly thick and sticky. When doctors injected it, it caused horrible pain. The body could not absorb it properly. So it did not actually reach the bacteria causing the disease. Most scientists had already written it off. Does not work. Next idea. But she didn't accept that answer. She sat down and broke the problem into tiny pieces. What exactly makes this oil so heavy? Which chemicals inside it are the ones that fight the disease? Can we change its structure so the body can actually use it? She ran experiment after experiment. Some days everything failed. She would write long formulas in her notebook, cross them out, start again, clean the glassware, try a new temperature, try a new combination. There were moments when she must have felt completely alone. Just her, the flickering lab light, and another failed test tube. But she kept going because something inside her refused to quit. If you've ever worked on a big goal that felt impossible, you know exactly what that quiet battle feels like. She didn't have fancy equipment, no big research team cheering her on, just persistence and a brilliant mind. She would stare at the results for a long time in silence, then adjust one small thing and try again. Would you have kept going after the 10th failure? But she did. Then, one day, it finally clicked. She found a way to turn the thick oil into a clear, injectable liquid. Something the body could absorb. Something that could actually reach the disease. No big celebration. No press conference. Just a quiet moment in the lab where she realized this is going to work. And it did. The new treatment started being used on the island. People who had painful open sores began to heal. Patients who had been isolated for 10, 20 years started showing real improvement. Some were even able to leave the island and go home to their families. For the first time in centuries, there was real hope against leprosy. This is one of those moments in history we don't talk about enough. You do something truly important, and the world is not ready to give you the credit you deserve. But she never got to see how big her discovery would become. In 1916, at just 24 years old, Alice Poole died suddenly. We still don't know exactly why, possibly an accident in the lab or a medical issue that wasn't diagnosed in time. After she passed away, something heartbreaking happened. There was silence. The kind of silence where names quietly disappear. Another scientist, a man who had been her supervisor, took her method, published it, and presented it as mostly his own work. He even called it the Dean method. For decades, textbooks and medical papers credited him instead of her. Her treatment continued to be used all over the world. It helped thousands and thousands of people. But her name was almost never mentioned. A brilliant young black woman in the early 90s had changed medicine forever, and history tried to forget her. But stories like this don't stay hidden forever. Years passed, decades. Then, in 1922, one honest doctor, the same man who had first asked her to work on the oil, published a paper. He clearly gave her the credit. He even called it the Bowl method. Still, it took much longer for the world to really listen. In the late 20th century, historians and the University of Hawaii started digging. A researcher named Catherine Takara found all records, her thesis, and the truth. Other people joined the search. In 2000, the university placed a bronze plaque on the Chalmugra tree on campus, the same kind of tree her oil came from. They finally said her name out loud. Today, Hawaii even has an official Alice Bowl Day. Justice didn't come quickly, but it came. And once it started, it kept growing. The woman who created the first effective treatment for leprosy was Alice Bowl. Alice Bowl. Thanks to her work, thousands of lives were saved. People who had lost everything, their homes, their families, their futures, were able to come back, to hug their loved ones again, to live normal lives. For a very long time, almost no one spoke her name. And that's why this story feels so personal to so many of us. It's not just a science story, it's a human story about doing something extraordinary and watching the world move forward with your work, but without your name attached. About being brilliant in a time when society was not ready to celebrate a young Black woman. But stories like her don't disappear forever. They wait in the shadows. They wait until someone decides to tell them again. And today, we just brought Alice Bowl's story back into the light, where it was always belonged.